Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Perspective Checks, where I sit down with friends and folks from the TTRPG community to talk about how we do this whole shared make-believe thing, how can we do it more often, how can we do it better, and why we love these silly little, and sometimes not so silly games. Today, I am joined by Kat the Dungeon Mom, a wonderful actual play performer, GM, mom, and community facilitator in gaming and parenting spaces. Hint, hint for today's topic. Kat, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me. I'm really stoked to be here and to get to talk about all the weird thoughts that live in my brain space.
Yes, we love weird thoughts. That's, all about it.
Good, because that's like 97% of what I got going for me.
And I found that this community, everybody has weird thoughts that are like somehow overlapping in like some other thing, but I'm always so excited to be like, whoa, this is an area I have not explored. Tell me more about your nerd.
Oh yeah.
The rabbit
like someone to jump
down.
off that deep end with and be oh, we're going to do this together. Great. Let's go.
I don't know if it's all of us, but it's definitely me where I'm like I found this thing I love. Now I need to go way too far into it, like way too far.
That's the neurodivergence, babe.
Yep. Yeah.
Undiagnosed, but peer reviewed.
100%. That's me. Yeah. So before we get into all of our topics and our tangents, which I'm sure we're going to get into, even just before recording, we were going off on some. I always ask guests the same 3 questions to open the interviews, just to get to know you and, get a baseline for some nerd stuff. So the first question we always ask is, how long have you been playing TTRPGs or been around the hobby?
I can answer this question with alarming clarity and decisiveness. Fall of 2020 was when I got into TTRPGs. I was a board gamer, video gamer, like general kind of nerd stuff before that, but we were all in lockdown, which I think is when a lot of people came to TTRPGs, which absolutely rules.
Yes,
but I had the additional sort of layer of being pregnant at the time.
Yep.
My spouse and I were meant to get married in November. And then, of course, COVID lockdown happened and our wedding got canceled. Oh. And we looked at each other and I was like, I'm not doing anything else right now. Let's do the baby thing now while we're just chilling at home. And then we'll do the wedding later. So that was what we did. So I'm pregnant. We're in lockdown. We're hanging out. And a friend of ours was already into TTRPGs and was like, hey, let's play games. And we were like, all right, great, but we don't know how to play. And we're both neurodivergent as hell. So we were like, we're not going to read a book and learn how that's just not
dare you
hand
happen. Me these 3 books or like even the player's handbook for D&D. It's like,
oh yeah.
Am I supposed to read this 280 pages, 300 pages?
I will happily pay the $60 to have the book and own it and let it sit on my shelf, but I'm not going to read it. That's crazy.
How dare you?
Right. How could you insinuate
Why
such a
would you think
idea?
that people are going to take notes? What do you think?
Wild. In crazy work. So in order to learn the game, my spouse and I started watching Dimension 20. Fantasy High Season 1.
Yes.
Which at that point was, I believe, the only Season 2 had already happened. It doesn't matter.
I'm so glad you came in with Deep Dimension 20 instead of Critical Role. I don't have anything against Critical Role.
No. There's a reason for it, and I'll get there. But give me 1 second.
Yeah.
So we start watching Dimension 20 because we're like, all right, we're learn by doing type people, so we'll watch these nerds play this game. And then we got 3 episodes, and we were like, oh wait, I actually like this show. And so we're now like multi-year dropout subscribers.
Yep.
I'm obsessed with Game Changer. Like we're those people in comment sections when people are like, what is this from? We're like, oh, it's this great show Game Changer on Dropout. And it's only $5 a month. Like we're those people.
Yep.
We're like, how like converts are the most devoted. Like we're those people who are like, this is our religion.
I found it
and
later.
It's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And it's totally fine. It is not like 50% of my personality. Unrelated, a very good friend of mine who I love dearly, BJ Colangelo, is a journalist in LA and has sort of found herself in that circle. So she recently did an interview with Sam about the Game Changer season.
Excellent.
She just posted, I think yesterday, as of this recording, an interview with Izzy about Dead coming out and like the push to get a bunch of screenings. And every time one of these drops, I text her some variation of, what's it like to live my dream, you bitch? But she's a lovely human who I'm thrilled to see succeeding. She's exactly the kind of person you want to see like find success, and getting to watch her do that, and like other stuff. She like interviews for other movies and does other cool things, but this is the one like niche thing that I care about. So
yeah, it's that meme where it's like cool, great, proud, like happy for you, but like it's just sad faces. They're just
yeah. Like so and I've made no secret of being like so desperately jealous, but also like so deeply proud that like that's my friend.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's very fun. So we started watching Dimension 20, learned how to play, played like 3 sessions of this campaign with these friends over Zoom. And then I had the child, like you do. So the campaign fucked off. Yeah. We never finished it. And some time went by. We were still watching Dimension 20. I tried to get into Critical Role. And so here's the thing.
Okay.
The difference between Dimension 20 and Critical Role. Dimension 20 is all improv nerds, which I am.
Yep.
I'm an improv and acting teacher. Like that UCB energy, Groundlings energy. That's where I live. Right. So that to me, I'm like immediately drawn to. Critical Role, on the other hand, is much more like performer, like actors and writers.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's this big, beautiful, overarching storyline that's beautifully woven and meticulously crafted. And Dimension 20 is just like a bunch of goblin shit that we're just like putting together. And like ne'er the twain shall meet, right? Except they do, because
now they are.
They keep doing stuff with the same. They're trading people.
Yeah.
And so there is absolutely room for both, but there's a reason that the vibes are so different.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll see, honestly, I don't think I've met anyone who liked both equally. People tend, in my experience, to have a strong preference for one or the other.
Correct. Yeah.
And I love and respect Critical Role. I think they've done important things. I think they need to do some more important things as far as the diversity in their casting. But like, there's room for both.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're allowed to be different. For
me, it's like, you could feel the improv, right? Like it keeps the energy much higher at Dimension 20, right? Where like any comment might just send people off the rails and just going into this funny new thing that no one expected and all this stuff. But Critical Role always feels like a real slow burn, right? And like there's an audience for that. And also, I don't have time to watch 4-hour episodes anymore, but Dimension 20, hour and 20 minute or whatever, nicely edited into like this part, then battle, then this part, then battle. It's like, oh, thank you for being like so. Yeah. Somehow it's both predictable, but also still not boring in its predictability. Like, and it's
like there's a formula, but the formula works, and so it doesn't feel like pigeonholed. Although I do feel like Cloudward Ho is getting longer. Like I feel like those episodes are closer to like 2.5.
Yeah.
I say as I'm like 5 episodes behind already.
So we got a little first tangent, success.
Would never. Couldn't be me. It's fine.
Our second opening question is, what games have you been playing lately?
I've been playing a lot of Cypher System. So I got tangled up with Monte Cook Games at Gen Con last year. So 2024.
Oh, this is your Tender Hollow.
Yeah.
Campaign. Yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. And fell in love with them, ran a bunch of games for them at Gen Con, applied for and won one of their Cypher System streamer grants.
Nice.
Which was, thank you, was such a big swing. And I got the email, and I distinctly remember getting the email, screaming, my husband being like, what is happening? Because we were in the middle of like sorting through, I remember it so specifically, we were sorting through toys to like my child's old toys to like get rid of some stuff. A bunch of Love Every toys that I put on Facebook Marketplace for a stupid amount of money, and people absolutely paid. And I was like, man, parenthood is a cult, but that's a different subject. So I scream. My spouse is like, what's wrong? What's going on? I was like, oh my God, I got the grant. That's amazing. Like crying tears of joy. And then a sudden like hitting a wall of like, oh no, I've written a check I now have to cash.
Yeah. Oh, I should probably start prepping.
I said I was going to do a thing, and now I have to do the thing.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Oh, well, that's exciting though.
It was great. It was amazing. And so I did that over the summer, and it was lovely. And I had the best cast in the world, who I love deeply. I just got back from Dragon Con, where I got to meet one of them in person for the first time, which was amazing. And then just today in the Effin' Funny community Discord server that is run by Sandeep Parikh and Omar Najam and a lot of the folks over at Daisy Quest. They were having a like gamers weekend, so a bunch of us got together to run a bunch of one shots, and I just ran a Magnus Archives one shot like 4 hours ago
because it uses the cipher system. I forgot that was one of the ones. Yeah, that and Old Gods. I was surprised.
Yep.
I was surprised when those two got announced, and they were like, "And cipher system," and I was like, "I wonder how those are going to work with the cipher system," which feels like a very powerful, capable character kind of system, but those games you don't exactly play powerful characters, so but my friend swears by Old Gods. He like, I love the podcast, and he was like, I got the game, and he was like, no, he's like, this is gonna work, we're gonna do this soon, and I was like, okay, cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I have not, so I was 3 episodes deep in the Old Gods podcast when I decided I was going to apply for the grant. And one of the like stipulations for the grant has to support like a currently available product. And this was right as Magnus was, so it had already kickstarted, but this was as it was like being delivered.
Yep.
And like being available in the online store. And I was like, well, obviously I have to do a Magnus game. So I had to binge the Magnus Archives.
I did it a few years ago, and oof.
Ooh, that was a choice
that
I made. I did that to me.
Yeah. It's heavy.
I was working. Yeah. I loved it. I thought it was brilliant. I think Jonathan Sims is a phenomenal voice actor. Alex Newell, Tim LeBeau, all of those folks. Spoiler disclaimer here. I thought I was going crazy when the voice actress for Sasha changed.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is just my ADHD, like latching onto a thing that doesn't make sense, or like a subtle change that I'm not supposed to notice. And then when it comes out that I was like, I knew it. I was so vindicated. It was amazing. Also, I'm so sorry that you have to edit that sound. That's
great. No, I got it. We're good.
But I was working a delivery job for UPS that holiday just for like something to do.
Yeah.
My child had started school that year, and I hadn't fully like acclimated to not being a stay-at-home mom full-time anymore.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm just going to pick up a holiday gig just to do something. And it was like the week before Christmas when I finally finished. And the last episode, you swore to me, you bastard. I had to pull the car over and cry. It was, if you haven't listened to the Magnus Archives podcast, I highly recommend it. I know it is like critically acclaimed and it's won a bunch of awards, and people are like, oh, it's overhyped. Fuck those people. It's a great podcast.
It's an endeavor. You're going to be doing it for a bit, but it is definitely worth it.
Yeah.
It's a great audio drama podcast. It's
genuinely
so good.
I actually just restarted it recently now that Tender Hollow is over, and it's really fun to be like, oh, this actually means a thing.
Yeah. Going back and like realizing the seeds they planted early.
Oh,
sure.
yeah.
Sure. I haven't done that, but if I did, yeah.
Yeah. Johnny Sims earned his money doing that show. So.
And I don't want to add to your answer before we get to our topic, but
please.
I just want to say, and I'm sure we'll talk about it in a bit, I'm a huge fan of a show that you're on right now. It is one of my podcasts that I'm like, how are more people not talking about all our faults? Like,
that is so
don't
kind of you
understand.
To say.
It is like, it's one of the ones that I listen to a lot of podcasts. I listen to a lot of APs, and I have like my order for like, playlist, and I set like, okay, like this one came out on this day, so it's going to go down here, and but like there's like 2 podcasts that like when it comes out I'm like, nope, straight to next, like straight to, and that is one of them every week.
That is incredibly kind. Thank you so much for
your character your character Crispin is wonderful. Well,
he's a choice. He's an acquired taste.
As a 14 years of Catholic school survivor, boy do I love Crispin.
I'm a former Sunday school teacher.
Ooh, okay. This is okay.
Yeah. But we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because what was the question I was answering? Because
what have you been playing lately?
Cipher System. So I ran Magnus for F and Funny, which was super fun, and it's a game I love to run. I run a lot of convention games for Monty Cook Games. I'm actually going to Gamehole Con for the first time ever this year.
Oh, nice.
Which will be super fun, and I'm going to run some Magnus. No Thank You Evil, which is their like kid friendly game, which I love.
Okay.
So obsessed with. And then I really love Devil's Dandy Dogs and Stealing Stories for the Devil. They are no prep games for the GM other than like knowing the rules. I love them because as someone who has been an improv teacher forever, you collaborate with your players to create the setting and the storyline, like the basic framework.
That's my favorite.
And it's so, here's the thing. I know I sound like a Monte Cook Games simp, and I am.
Own it.
Because listen, I won't pretend I'm anything that I'm not. Like, let's be so for real. I think that they're brilliant games and they're really fun. And if your style, your flavor is like narrative focused, really interesting, weird, like Dimension 20 versus Critical Role, if you or if you're in that like goblin gremlin energy, like Monte Cook Games are for you, baby.
My streaming group, DMs After Dark, which I haven't played with in a while, but we did a series of Invisible Sun back in the day.
How did you like it?
I mean, so the format of our show back in the day was like we had 6 forever GMs, and we were like, we all want to run all these games we have on our shelves, but never get to play because people just want to play D&D. So we're always running D&D. And so we were like, we're going to run other games for everybody. So, but we kept them short, and we only got to play like 4 episodes of Invisible Sun, which is not enough to really dive into.
Not for that game, no.
But the taste of it was like so bizarre and fun and like complicated. Granted, that's a game where like you got to do your homework. You know what I mean? Like you do have to be like, like which school am I part of? And like, okay, how are my things working and all this stuff. So, but yeah, Monte Cook Games. Surprisingly, I think that might be the only Monte Cook Games. I own Numenera, and I've tried to get it to the table with my friends. I own Cypher System. I own another one, and I don't know. I've read them. Because I am the person who's like, I bought a book. I want to mine
every
this
friend
with
group
genius.
needs one.
Yeah, that's me. But yeah, I think Invisible Sun's the only one I've played, I think. So
I love that. Monty would be pleased. I'm pretty sure that that's his favorite one.
I think I was talking about the Black Box is an insane product. Let me just say.
I keep looking at it and I'm just like, someday.
Right, exactly. Right. Someday. Yeah. Anyway.
We had one at Gen Con this year, like set out as a display piece, and I was just like, damn, that's a sexy looking game.
What yeah, exactly. Like imagine not telling like your game group.
Yeah, just showing up with it.
what they're in for, right? And like you invite them over and they're like, I brought my snacks and I brought my notebook and I'm ready to, and you just have like the Black Box on the table. Yeah. And you're like, are you ready?
Anyone listening to this is going to have to like Google what this is.
Yeah.
Like there's no way to explain it. And like the thing that I love about it so much, and the thing that will eventually make me like get into it, despite the fact that I am not a do your homework kind of person, is like the envelopes that are like, do not open until instructed. Yes. And I'm just like, I want to know.
Right. All right. Okay. Let's get to, this is the perfect segue. Cause we're taking our time. We're meandering and having a good time here. Our third question is a very smooth segue that, not at all ham-fisted. And it's, what are we talking about today?
Oh my God. I'm so glad you asked. Everything. All the things.
All the things.
Yeah. So my big focus as a creator, as a person, as a creative is how do we do things more better?
Hey, I said that in the beginning. Look at that.
Yeah, exactly. And specifically, my like area of interest is supporting parents, caregivers, educators, people who are supporting youth, right? The children are our future, right? Like
I've heard that a time or two.
I know, right? I think someone really important really probably said that before, who was not me. Yeah. But no, I am studying social work currently, but I've been an educator forever. I was a nanny for a decade. I have a child. Like this is child development and childhood support are things that are of a special interest to me. And my perspective is that in order for children to be supported, their support network has to be strong and supported. And so my kind of avenue is, how do we, give these folks the tools to work with the youth in their lives on tough topics, or just, continuing to foster secure connections. We talk about a lot in early life, so like birth to 5 years old, about attachment theory, like how do we foster secure attachments? But that conversation gets lost a little bit the older the child gets. So how do we continue fostering strong attachment with caregivers, with parents, with trusted adults? And then the other prong is, how are we making these people feel supported and connected with their community outside of their roles as parents, educators, caregivers.
Right.
And for me, that really came from after my child was born, I had some health issues, kiddo had some health issues, and my father was also having some health issues that did ultimately lead to him passing, but we didn't know that at the time. And so I was balancing being not just a mom, but also a caregiver for my elderly father. And I didn't have space outside of those roles to just be a person. The amount of time I spent on the phone with healthcare initiatives or health insurance was my full-time job.
I'm so sorry. That's awful.
But that's the reality for so many people. And and I think the math that doesn't get done when we have these discussions is a lot of the times people who are doing caregiving for aging parents are also caregiving for young children.
Yeah.
So you're navigating it at both ends of the spectrum. So for me, that was a big motivation to be like, okay, how are we actually supporting people who are dedicating so much of their time and their energy to the care and keeping of others? Like, what are we doing to make sure that we as a community are there to support and connect with them? Because we talk about like the male loneliness epidemic is getting so much fucking press time right now.
Gross.
But like, we don't talk about the caregiver loneliness epidemic and how isolating that is. And so just being able to say like, no, there are avenues for these folks to still have firm connections through games, through nerdy properties, through the in-person village that we're preached to. It takes a village to raise a child. Well, where the fuck is the village?
So that's actually a great point. I actually have in my notes here, because this is, I think, how you pitched it, right? It was like, you know, the community as a village, like the TTRPG community as a village. And like you said, it takes a village. I read a great quote recently about the cost for a global interconnected social media, you know what I mean? Like finding your people, but they may be all over the world, right? And that makes it very detached from where you are in the world. The cost for global interconnectedness, right? The cost for that is the village. It's gone. The village does not exist anymore, because now your tribe is not the people you have to spend every day with and around. It is whoever you can talk to on the internet. And sometimes it's very good for people to have that community, especially for like marginalized communities and people who may not have people like them where they do live in their physical proximity village. However, it's also a slippery slope to echo chambers. And it's also, you know what I mean? So like, I saw that quote and I loved it. And I love the idea of the village as, like, we talk about this as community. I've had a couple episodes on this interview series this year about the TTRPG community and how we can do better, right? Like finding your place in the community and like when to walk away from a table, or, you know, how to support the people that you like in a more meaningful way, right? And like get loud about projects you're excited about to promote people, because for some people, this is their livelihood. You know, it makes a big difference just to get a little positive reinforcement, anything like that. Yeah. But, you know, also shrinking your bubble, you know, like pull in that circle, because if you can keep it smaller and more focused and tighter, then I don't know if that's where you're going, because I think, are you speaking mostly about physical, you know, communities and places?
So there's certainly space for both. And I think not only is there space for both, I think it is at this point a necessity, just because of the way
you can't exclude one anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And right now, my sort of main focus, the major project I want to take on, and the reason I decided to go back to school at 30 years old.
Came in perfectly clear. Well done.
I thought so. I was very articulate there for... was to have the skills and the knowledge and the know-how to be able to build. Essentially what I'm trying to put together is a set of instructions or a framework, a little booklet that a friendly local game store, a library, an interested community member can download and be like, okay, this is how I start a family-friendly gaming group. This is how I make an accessible gaming day at the library. This is how I foster these community events that allow people to make those connections. Because, like, let's be so real. We're going to dip into, like, some stereotypes for just a hot second. Just dipping our toe in.
Okay.
We're nerds. We're at home on our computers.
No. Who?
Yeah, I know. Us? Crazy.
The hours of editing that I do, I just forget, right. Like, is a portion of my life, you know? Oh.
Yeah. So setting up those events and advertising, you know, games, snacks, whatever it takes to get, yeah, exactly. To get people to kind of come out of their hole and be like, go out in public and be like, hey guys, what's up?
Yeah.
That's the whole goal. Like, it's not, and listen, if a friendly local game store uses this framework to have a monthly family gaming day that is big business for them and is great, I love that. That's amazing. But the goal is just to like here are the people in your community that also like think about and love the things you do.
Nerd stuff. Yeah, right.
Nerd stuff.
That you otherwise never would have met, right? Like,
yeah.
Because you're in your internet communities or whatever. But like there might be someone you could just call up and be like, hey, now we have an in-person thing every once in a while. Yeah.
Right. And like, especially for us at the beginning, we don't have a ton of local friends, like IRL friends. Mm-hmm. But one thing that was really important to us was we have a house where we have space that we could set aside as like a safe gated play space for young kids. And then also the gaming table was right there. So we could like watch them. So being able to be like, hey, parents, come over for a gaming day. The kids can hang out and play and socialize, and we can watch them and be in the same room, and it'll be totally fine. And we can also like play games and socialize because that was a resource that we had. And so being able to find the people where it's like, I'm a DM, I have a place we can play, I have a bunch of toys and clothes left over from my kids who outgrew them 10 summers ago that I can like
finally I can get rid of all these clothes. Yeah.
Exactly. Like just reestablishing that in-person support network that I know a lot of my fellow millennial parents just feel like has never ever been there.
Yeah. So one of the members of the DMs After Dark crew that I stream with is a librarian who started a program in our tiny little state of Rhode Island. And she
librarians are rebels and I love them.
Oh, she's the best. Like she is one, you want hot takes, you two would have a great conversation. But she runs the RPG program for our hometown library, and she got a grant and she bought all these games and she has all these things, and she's done a very good job with it. Fostering a community there, and they still do, I think, at least they have one ongoing campaign. They do drop-in monthly games. They do all these things. And I used to do it in person. It's been a little harder online. But she's still got people she's recruited to do it. It's so good. I've said this multiple times on this podcast, in this interview series with people.
Yeah.
And I still haven't done it. So people are going to hear this in December and be like, you better have done it by then.
You better have done it.
There's a cafe that opened right in the main street of my tiny little town. And it's a little nerdy cafe. They have like a couple old video game boxes, like the old arcade machines. Yeah. And they do like a monthly D&D night. And like part of me is like, awesome. Ooh, let me be the guy who's like, I'll do the monthly, just not D&D night. Hey, are you interested in
monthly literally any other game night?
Any other game night, right? Exactly. Hey, are you interested in this nerdy make-believe click-clack math dice? Like, yeah, cool. Tell me what you're into, and we'll do something like that. And I don't have to hack 5e for it.
Yeah.
Right.
Listen. Okay, here's my hot take. D&D's fine.
It's fine. It's fine.
But please stop hacking it to do the thing you want to do. Go find a game that actually does the thing you want it to do.
Yeah. I promise they did it better.
Yeah. Like I love a game that knows what it is and isn't trying to be anything else.
Mm-hmm. One of the ones that drove me the most nuts. This is a short tangent. One of my white whales of TTRPGs is a Pokemon TTRPG. Monster.
Does that not exist already?
Well, there are a few. Somebody hacked a 5e one and gave every Pokemon a monster stat block, and I was like, you should never have done this. Bad. But there are a few. There's actually fan-made like Pokemon tabletop games. One of them like mined the video game data and is so crunchy it's not even fun. I'm like, who wants to play this version?
I respect that is someone's cup of tea. That is my literal nightmare.
Yeah. Like if you have like a level 40, 50 Pokemon or whatever, you're rolling like 8d12 plus 60 plus attack minus the opponent's special defense or whatever. And it's like,
I'm so good.
No. Anyway, it's my white whale. Like, and one, you couldn't make an officially licensed one because Nintendo would absolutely C&D.
Oh yeah, they'd have your ass for sure.
But even just the concept of it, right? And there is one that I've backed on a Kickstarter called Animon Story, but it's much more Digimon flavored.
Yeah, I was gonna say that sounds very much like a different property,
right? And then it's like,
I say as someone who didn't have cable, so I had to watch Digimon as a child. I didn't get to watch the Pokemon show.
One of my home group weekly players watched both and is still a Digimon. He's like, no, it was a better game. It was a better TV show. It was better. And I'm like, yeah, I love it. I respect your dedication. But anyway. So yeah, so I got to get to that little store and just be like, I'll be here for the nerds.
Yeah.
But it's hard because, as you said, I have a 4-year-old. Like, it's really hard to be like, and to go back to your earlier point too, it'd be really lame of me to be like, hi wife, I promised I'd run this game at this cafe at 8 p.m. So like I can be here to put him down, but then I'm gone all night. And like, I remember when, she went back to work after the maternity leave, and it took a while after that for her to be like, who am I now? You know what I mean? Like, she was like, I think my only identity is mother now, which is weird. Do you know what I mean?
It's a weird, no, that's a whole, listen, we could have a whole episode just on that subject. Like, and it's a lot.
And these are the people that you've been playing games with, right? Like, I don't think, and some friend groups, some game groups are going to recognize that and be like, hey, we're here for you. When are you coming back? What are you doing? Like, and then they hear like, oh, like we talked about this before we went on. In newborn form, it's actually very easy to do that because you're like, look, they need one of two things, sleep or food. I remember when my baby was a newborn, we would switch off and we would have him. This is a visual medium for all of you audio podcast listeners.
This is going to go great.
We would have him in our laps like this while we held our controllers and played video games.
Oh, I did the same thing
with her brothers. And it would be so funny because every once in a while on like the headset, the brothers would hear like him wake up because I'd be like, no, or whatever. Yeah. But so
I frequently would keep my kiddo in like one of the baby carriers because they were a perpetual motion.
I needed one of those.
I had so many. Yeah. I had so many.
Anyway, but so yeah, I mean, places like this, if you can, I love the idea of you going back to school to be like, I want to come up with the blueprint, right? Or like a framework to disseminate and be like, because this is for nerdy stuff, right? Because we want people to have this accessibility, and especially if like they're parents, because we've been through that and we're understanding the struggle of that. But also, in a way, it is one of the scaffolds of the village, the bigger kind of. All of a sudden, you meet somebody you didn't know, and you're like, "What do you do?" And they're like, "Oh, I have this store over here," or "Oh, I do this for a living," and it's like, "Oh, neat!" Like, if you ever need help or if I never need help or whatever, and you're creating these connections that again, you may not have ever known were there.
Yeah. Something else too, that a friend of mine posited to me in a very poetic way that I'm absolutely about to butcher was that, a generation of nerds has grown up now. Like, Dungeons and Dragons, product of the 80s, right?
Yeah.
So there is a whole legion of us, millennials, presumably.
Yeah.
Some Gen X, but we won't forget you, Gen Xers. We love you.
Yeah.
I see you out there. You're not forgotten. Gen X is the forgotten generation.
I believe so. Yeah, I believe so.
I'm not because everyone always talks about boomers and millennials, and it's like there's another one.
You skipped one, right? Exactly.
You skipped a whole bunch of people.
Yeah. That's like a 17-year window.
Yeah, it's not small. But like all of us we've all grown up now, and now we have kids, and a lot of, because the culture has shifted and like being a nerd isn't the scarlet letter that it used to be. A lot of our kids are growing up nerdy.
Mm-hmm.
An example of this and the genesis of the conversation I was having with my friend at DragonCon was young furries and therians. There is a cultural belief that furries and therians are strictly a sexual like interest, and that's not true. And so when people hear that young people at a rising rate are self-identifying as furries, as therians, there is this sort of knee-jerk reaction of like, that's not appropriate.
Right.
When the truth is like, you can have a sexual fetish about fucking anything.
Yeah.
People have doctor kinks. People have school teacher kinks. Like,
yeah.
Here's the thing. If a thing, rule 34 of the internet, if a thing exists, there is porn of it, right? And so we have this whole group, this whole culture of young people who are being maligned by this misinformed belief. But then there are people out here who are like, no, like, we're seeing these adults, we're seeing these people who raised us let their freak flag fly, as it were.
Yeah.
And we're just the next generation of that. We are the next generation of nerds, which is my panel that I've done a bunch of times this year. Adventures in Parenting, Raising the Next Generation of Nerds. And like, as much as I love seeing the young people being like, no, I'm going to claim this identity for myself and I'm going to decide who I am and how I interact with the world, we as the adults in their lives have a responsibility to A, know what the fuck we're talking about.
Sure. Yeah.
And B, come to our young people with a spirit of like curiosity and not judgment. Because I'll be 100% honest, when this friend of Morgan McLaughlin McFarland is my friend, which her name, I'm just like, yeah, I'm like, girl, you got it. There's a reason she goes by Ravpocalypse on the internet. She is working to create like safe spaces for these young people, because she acknowledges that there is a lot of like sexual and adult oriented content for furries and furrians on the internet. And she's like, I want to make a safe space for these young people so they're not going to Google it.
Right. And yeah, exactly. Like if this is something that they're showing an interest in, right? And like, you know, again, we're millennials and I like to think, I think we all still think we're kids, right? Because we've grown.
Oh, 100%.
Like
listen.
Every millennial is like, oh shit, we're adults. But it's because we lived our whole lives with the advent of the internet and video games that have constantly gotten better. And like, there's been no reason for us to stop playing video games. In fact, now we are the primary buyers, consumers of video games, right? So it's like, we have to realize that like all of our nerd nostalgia, our parents are like, what in the hell are you on about? And we can't be that kind of parent when the kids that we're raising to be like, hey, nerd stuff is cool. And they find different nerd stuff. We can't be like, what the hell is it? What the hell is this stuff?
Yeah, we have to be.
It's more like,
actively...
yo, what the hell's that? Like, yo, what is that? Like, hey, yo, tell me about that thing.
Being actively interested in your child's life? What? That's wild. What? But one of the things Morgan does, and one of the things I got to help her with at DragonCon, was she ran a furry and therian youth meetup in the kids track at DragonCon. And unfortunately, the room capacity was 80 and we had over 150 people show up.
Whoa. And this was strictly for like younger. For
young people. And like they're adult. Like you couldn't be there. If you were 16 or younger, you had to have an adult with you because like it wasn't like a babysitting service, but so there were all these young people with their caregivers. And I remember coming down the escalator and seeing the line with Morgan, and she just burst into tears because she was so happy that this was something that people cared about. But she spent the whole time, not the whole time, like she talked to the kids a little bit, but she spent quite a bit of the time like going around to the adults and being like, hey, how are you doing? Do you have any questions? Like, do you need support for this thing that you maybe don't super understand about your kid's interest? And just seeing like the relief on the parents' faces of like, okay, here's a place where I can like ask a question without being treated like a judgmental asshole. Because like, let's be so honest, when you ask a 14-year-old any question, like there's a like 80% chance that they're going to get weird and defensive about it because hormones are a bitch. Right? Like their brains aren't wired for like any kind of rational like this is like an attack
or like meeting an adult in a like they're probably suspicious like why are you asking about something I like are you going to take it away is probably like the first
and that is developmentally appropriate. Let me say I am not like dunking on 14-year-olds that at 14 that was me as well. Like that's just how your brain works.
Awful.
Like it's just a real thing that we all experience. But like Morgan, and I say this as someone who like had no knowledge of furry and therian culture outside of like the CSI episode where a guy dies in his fursuit at an orgy because he got dosed with Ipecac and like I have such a very specific memory about this. And when I say it, there's like a 50% chance that people are going to be like, I know exactly what episode you're talking about because it left a visceral like mark on me as a young person.
Yeah.
And other people are like, what the fuck are you talking about?
No offense. I've never heard of this episode. And like, but you know what? It's there. And like, it's a cultural touchstone.
Exactly. Like the cultural zeitgeist of like furries and therians is
it is like you said, maligned, right? Like it is, it's because you're assuming it is this kink related thing or this sexually leaning kind of thing. And I don't doubt that there's a fair amount of that. However,
100%.
Not all of it is. And, you know, and the better we can foster this community of like, hey, like the kids who are into this, like we're going to keep it what they want it to be, like this like spirit of,
we're going to keep it kid friendly. We're going to keep it
their
like
exploration
safe
of these ideas and like where they're coming at it from. Cause they don't even have the context to be like, it's this 35-year-old idea of the, you know what I mean? It's the early aughts idea of a furry. And it's like, this kid wasn't even born. So no, that's not their idea of
it's
furries,
not relevant to
them.
them.
It's a very good way to like remember where you need to come at it from.
Yeah. Well, and we live in a time where, again, social media, the internet is such a built-in part of our lives, and so much information can come in so fast that sometimes it's hard to know the difference between like what is actually scary and what do I need to be like concerned about and what is just like totally benign, like what's just totally fine. And not being able to have a place to go with those questions, not being able to be like, hey, I'm feeling a way about this, like can I talk this out with someone, is hard. So that's why my big thing is like, you don't have to know everything, but like try to go into these interactions with a spirit of curiosity. Like, hey, where did you get this idea? What do you get out of this? What need does this fulfill for you? Like asking questions to understand is going to get you 1,000% farther than what the fuck is this weird bullshit?
And just to bring this back to the idea of creating these spaces where this is appropriate and this is where you're doing this, by creating a place where if it's one time a year at a con or if it's, you know, regular because this is something they're interested in, so they bring it to game nights, you know, or whatever, or get-togethers for whatever it may be that you are setting up as a community event. It's a chance to, like, the way I imagine it is like you are shrinking that ubiquitous internet web that touches everything, right? And going, we're only going to talk about it in the context of like right here, right now. And like, not, you can ask like, where did you get this? Like, and be like, this one particular thing in the internet, we're going to bring this in for context. But otherwise, we're talking about it in this small, how does this affect you? How does this affect your relationships with these people that we're sitting around and we're interacting with regularly, right? And like, what are they bringing into it? And how is that making everybody, like, let's make sure we're all on the same page about how we feel about these things. And that, you know, translates very well towards just about any community and anything, you know, that's in a nutshell, safety tools session 0 stuff, right? Like, I mean, like it really is like, if you're going to sit down and dive into something where people want to explore anything, that's a common thing that people do in TTRPGs, then you need to almost shrink that web, sit down and be like, for the context of what we're going to be doing and how we're going to be exploring it. Like, we're not going to bring in everything. No one's going to Google and download or, you know what I mean? Like read every article about this thing, because that's not what we need to know about it. We need to just know what you want to explore about it. Right.
Yeah. What position are you coming from on, like, what information do you have? Do I need to fill in any gaps? Do I need to disabuse you of the notion of any misinformation you have? Like, where are you coming from so that I can meet you in the best way?
Yeah.
But it's funny that you mention like safety tools and exploration via TTRPGs.
Yeah.
During Tender Hollow. So Tender Hollow was a mashup game. So I had 2 tables of 4 players. One set was playing in the Magnus archives. So they were the paranormal investigators working on this case.
Yeah.
And the other table was playing in a setting called We Are All Mad Here, which, as you can probably intuit, is based in fairy tales.
Yeah.
Based in fairy tales.
Love it.
But is very focused on like the exploration of mental health. And so the conceit of the game is that our 4 children, our 4 youngins, were attending a grief summer camp after having lost someone close to them.
Oof.
And then they fuck off. And the investigators are left to try to figure out how to unfuck off them, and or bring them back, however you want to phrase that.
You got to play both. You got to play both the investigators and the kids who fucked off, and that's a really interesting premise, right? Because
it was so hard. It was so hard.
Well, but also because the concept of the "we're all mad here," right, is like an exploration of grief and like where it takes you and what you need to do to get through it. But you made it an actual physical exploration. Right, for them.
Sure
and like,
did.
Yeah. And like, wow, the parallels, man. I love that. That's great. That's very good.
Yeah. But because of the themes and like this might not make sense to everyone who listens to this, but you'll understand. So Juicy Garland, who is the voice of Michael in All Our Faults.
Oh, great. I met Juicy at a Glass Cannon Live, and like
Juicy
it was so funny.
Wonderful.
It was so funny because they were walking by, and like I stopped him. I was like, "Hey, you're Juicy Garland," and he just looked at me like I'm this random person at another like live TTRPG event. He's like, "Yes," and I was like, "Can I just get a picture with you? Because like I love you on
so
All Our Faults."
Cute.
And he was like, "Oh my god, thank you." Thank you so much.
I guarantee that made his day. But so I asked him to be at the kids table because he's known for playing like characters like Michael that are very dark and very like sexual. And I was like, can you be a prepubescent boy? And he was like, sold. Heard chef. And he made the most heartbreaking little kid who was dealing with not only grief but guilt. Because he felt responsible for the death of the loved one. And like just would drop one-liners that made me go, "Ugh, I didn't ask you to hurt my feelings like this."
Well, yeah, give me a minute.
But Juicy and I have worked together on All Our Faults for a couple of years now. And so we have a pretty good sense of where the other's boundaries are. Everyone else at the table was a new player to me. Yeah. And so we went through the Monty Cook consent checklist, especially the ones that are catered specifically to Magnus Archives and We're All Mad Here. And I had to be very upfront with people and be like, here are some themes that are going to be unavoidable. Like a common one that people will have as a line or a veil is harm to children. And I'm like, friends, that ship has sailed.
For this?
By the time the story starts, that ship has sailed.
Yeah.
The children have been harmed and are going to continue to contend with harm. And so there had to be a lot of like, hey, what's up? How are you feeling? I had a player who specifically was like, no spiders. Spiders are bad. And if you're familiar with the Magnus Archives, spiders are kind of a thing. So I had to have a conversation with this player and be like, hey, like we gotta talk about it. And I was able to spin some things and I was able to keep some things kind of like low key. And that player and regular check-ins, like, was that too much? Are you okay? Do you need it? And just that open line of communication. And it ended up being fine. That player was like, we're good. I will let you know. Like,
heavily veiled versus the line, right? Like, can we, right.
We made it work. And like, because of the subject matter we were covering, it required a lot of that. Like, I was so like, again, I'm not someone who does their homework, but I was so like the list of lines and veils and conversations. Like I had a whole database. It was nuts because I was like, I want to push up against the boundaries. I don't want to cross them. Like there is fully a scene, trigger warning, harm to children. There's fully a scene involving like a drowning death of a child, which is hard and was a devastating scene. And so like in the break of that session, I had to be like, hey, are we all okay? Do we need to do some aftercare? Like, and we were good. And like, there were nights where it was like, can we just like stay on stream and like talk
couple minutes
for like 10 minutes? And it was like, yeah, absolutely. We can do a group cool down. Yeah. But because we were able to have that conversation, because we were able to use those safety tools, because there was so much over communication of like, are you good? Here is what's coming. You can revoke consent at any time, and I will retcon an entire episode if I have to. Because of all of that, we were able to go to some really horrible places but then have some really incredible outcomes.
Mm-hmm.
And that only comes from being able to have those hard conversations.
Yeah, right. I mean, I don't like to say that, like, you said, like, you wanted to push up against the boundaries, right? You wanted to push up against those lines that they put there, not to antagonize, but to test and to bring out feelings, right? And like, because,
and boy, did we feel things.
Yeah, and like, I do think that earlier we said D&D's fine. If you're playing a game like D&D, odds are you're not critical rolling it to the point where like there are these super heavy things, but a lot of other games do not pull their punches. Yeah, they don't pull their punches, and the core conceit of them is getting uncomfortable in a very specific kind of thing. So it makes sense that, if you're going to set this kind of thing up, you gotta, you don't have to do your homework, as you're saying, but like you have to have the conversation, right? And it works the same way with any kind of community that that is maybe new to you, or maybe
one of the sort of secondary reason I'm pursuing social work is I find the concept of like therapeutic TTRPGs to be fascinating, and I want to do that, but I want to make sure that I have the skill set to do it ethically and in a way that's not going to cause further trauma.
Fun fact, I think it might have been the first interview I did on this very channel, or first or second, was with a TTRPG therapist.
Yes.
And since that interview, which it's the only one I've ever done as like co-hosting with one of my DMs After Dark friends, Troy, who was a firefighter for years and went back to school and has gotten his degree and I think his master's at this point, or he's finishing up his master's now, and he's becoming a therapist, and he's trying to do TTRPG therapy. Because like that interview, like we met her at a local con, and the therapist ran a game, and she explained like, oh, I do this like as part of therapy, and he was like, tell me everything.
That's an option. Tell me.
And in the years since that con, he has gone back to school, he's done it, and now he's finally actually I think he ran his first TTRPG therapy session not that long ago for Army veterans.
Congrats, my guy.
So like, and it's a powerful way to explore these things. And he actually had a similar story that he told me about, where one of the character's lines was one of the things that one of the other players asked to explore, and he was like, okay, we need to have this conversation about where exactly we can do this or not.
We got to negotiate the boundary,
right?
And but that's part of the skill, right? Is like, yes, the table then becomes like a safe place to explore these things in a space where it's not real, right? But then there's also the added layer of like practicing self-advocacy and compromise above the table, so that everybody gets out of the experience what they want. And that rules. And I love that.
Going back to some notes I have here, and we're already almost at an hour, so we're gonna breeze through.
We're doing great, bestie.
we're gonna breeze through a couple of these other bullet points.
No worries, it's fine.
But this relates to Tender Hollow and a thing you talked about earlier, which was that one of your panels that you run is raising the next generation of nerds, and you're coming at this like you are Kat, the dungeon mom.
It's in the name.
I have a 4-year-old that he knows we play TTRPGs. He gets out of his bedtime and he runs into this room for our weekly game night, and he comes and he puts the headset on and he says hi, and he calls it Mommy and Daddy's Dice Games. Is what he calls it.
That's so cute. I want to die.
But obviously I want to get him playing, and we've done some very rules light narrative. Just roll a d6, and if it's if you can count and tell me it's bigger or smaller than this number, that's what we're doing, right? Very little. However, another great way, one of the things you wanted to talk about, and one of the systems or programs you want to set up and help give people a blueprint for, is a community space where parents can get out of that parent role for a bit and just be people, adults, friends, playing games with other adults, and kind of just be like, I know my kids are safe over there. Maybe I can see them. Maybe I just trust people who are there, whatever. But can I turn the table a little bit here and say,
please do. Let's go.
I did an interview with a Game Master Mom is her name. And I
am familiar with Game Master Mom. Yep.
And I did an interview with her, and that was mostly about how she runs games for her kids. Right. But, I have notes here about like, that's obviously different than running a game with kids in the general proximity.
Yeah.
But do you have tips for like, have you played games with your kid, I should ask, or do you play with young kids regularly?
I have not played with my kids specifically. We're still a little on the inattentive spectrum for that, but I'm hopeful.
Yeah.
Someday that check will come due.
Yeah.
But I do run games for young people. I'm a drama teacher. I'm an improv teacher, specifically for youth most of the time. I have taught adult classes, but kids like my vibe more, and that's fine because I'm weird, and most adults are like, ugh.
But you know what? If kids like your vibe, it's
yeah.
It's
like
you're
if the
right.
dog at the party likes you,
I was just gonna say that. No, I didn't want to compare dogs and kids, but
but my dogs are my children. I'm one of those people.
But it's one of those like innate, like this person is trustworthy. You know, like this vibe is fun. Like, you know,
I think it's because kids like know that I'm not gonna bullshit them.
Yeah, like,
I remember
you're
as a
there
kid
to
being
both have fun, but also
yeah,
not coddle them in a way that they don't want to be, right? Yeah.
Like I remember very much as a child being like, oh, this adult is not taking me seriously, and how like shitty that felt. And so I strive to not ever make a kid feel like I don't take them seriously. Like even in my drama club that I teach, I tell the parents, like, if your kid is upset, if they didn't get the role they wanted, if something, ask them to come to me and like talk to me about it. Let them practice advocating for themselves in an environment with someone who is on their side, because that will not always be the case. And like, if they want to come to me with a grievance, and I've absolutely had students be like, why didn't I get the role I want? Why am I not in a group with my friends? Blah, blah. And we have a real conversation about it. If there's something I can do about it, I will. But sometimes it's just like, I hear you. You're frustrated. That really sucks. You're disappointed. I understand. And it's okay to feel that way. And I think that's just as important for kids to hear as like, my parents are authoritative, not authoritarian. Like they make decisions and they stick with it. But it's also important for them to hear like, hey, you didn't like this thing and it sucks and I'm going to sit in it with you. Yeah. Like that's
totally valid, but sometimes bummers are going to happen. Dude.
Them's the breaks, but also you're allowed to be sad.
Yeah.
But as far as like running games for kids, I run a ton of games for kids at conventions. Even I'm going to be running a bunch of No Thank You Evil at Gamehole Con here in a little bit, a couple weeks. But my thing about running games for kids is, like I just said, don't bullshit them. You know, if you are running a system where character death is on the table, sometimes bad things happen to the puppy dog. Like, decide if that is a subject you want to broach. Yeah. Right. Also, if your kids are asking questions, like, so I had a really brilliant, so I ran my panel at Gen Con, sold out. I was floored. We had a great discussion, but I lost my mind. But we had a really brilliant question come from a parent in the room. And their question was, you know, I have recently come out as transgender. I'm about to start my transition. Like, do you have suggestions for using games to talk to my kids about it? And I was like, absolutely. Like, in a game with your kids, have a character be going through not necessarily a gender transition, but some kind of like major metamorphosis change. And then ask the kids, like, what did you think about that? What do you think was hard for that character to experience? Like, take a vibe check, right? Like, see where the kids are just on the subject. And then you can open it up more to like, what would you think if I went through a major change? How would that affect you? What would that look like? You know, what do you think it's going to be like for you when you go through the major changes of growing up? Like, use those games as an opportunity to springboard into the conversations that need to be had. Right. Because just like we were talking about with TTRPG therapy, you're able to approach these topics in a way that like matters, but isn't like real life. Right.
There is a separation. However immersed you get into it. And ideally you're in a place where you can feel as much of it as you are comfortable with, but know the entire time that there is a separation there. And I actually, that was my question, because when I asked Nicole, Game Master Mom, her kids are still young. I think she said 5 and 2, right? My kid is 4. Your kid is 4.
Yep. So we're all in the same boat.
Yeah,
we're doing great.
And I asked her because you know, again, I'm a nerd, and like not only am I like a TTRPG nerd, like I'm a science nerd, right? So like for me, I'm like one of the games that I'm designing, because again, my brain can't stop being like, more games, do things, games, more things, games, more.
My son.
But one
I
of
love
them,
that for you.
one of them that I'm designing is a game where you play white blood cells in the body, because I think there's a really good opportunity for TTRPGs to be educational, right? Like,
100%.
Like there aren't a lot of them, and we'll shout out somebody that I know we're going to talk about when I even just said that in a second. However, I asked Game Master Mom, I was like, how much in your thinking of the 20 minutes of game that you're going to get with a 5-year-old before they're like, and now I'm going to go do this other thing, do you try and consider proposing or like presenting a scenario where like you want to kind of like, maybe there's a lesson in here, like that you could talk about after the fact, you know what I mean? Like maybe, we can learn something, like just the concept of the obstacle or whatever. And like you just said, like have a character, if it's something related to that we're going to be talking about.
Yeah.
Bring it up in the game. I love that.
Like authors have been using metaphor for nigh on before history was recorded, right?
Yeah.
To hammer home stories. Like you as the person leading the game, like you can do it too. I believe in you.
Yeah. And with kids, do you think that it's valid? Like, is there there's an age where like, you're like, I know this is going to land, versus like, they might miss this and just enjoy the ride or whatever.
They might miss it at any age.
Sure.
Like, because they're not looking for it necessarily. It's not so something that was imparted to me when I was training to become a certified sexuality educator was like the idea that a lot of the most important discussions in this context, it was like discussing consent, but like it can apply to any of the big conversations.
Yeah.
It's not one conversation. It's not one interaction. It's a lot of little interactions. So you don't put all your hopes and dreams on this one game and we're going to understand each other perfectly and it's going to be great.
Yeah.
That is just one building block in the house you are putting together of this young person's understanding of the world.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm so excited for my kid. Like, I'm like, I can't wait for him to play games. And like, we're going to go through like, whatever, and just getting used to the gaming. But then like, as those topics come up or as those questions come up, it's like, okay, write this down, be like, okay, let's think of a way to like hit on this, you know what I mean? Like a tangential kind of angle on this. And and I'm going
to be 100% clear. That's 1,000% what play therapy is.
Oh yeah.
Like when kids have to go to a play therapist when they're young and like they're going, like that's all play therapy is like letting them have like that one step of separation to then be able to process through a thing.
Oh, see, good to know. There's a word for it, and now I'm going to Google it and be like, cool, here's a new rabbit hole.
I got you, bestie.
And speaking of educational games and stuff like that, I feel like we must give a shout out to Steph Campbell, TTRPG Kids.
Steph Campbell. I love Steph.
Oh, I've been following for so long, and all of their posts, I'm just like, oh my god, I love all the, like, they'll just post something and they'll be like, this itch thing, and I'm like, oh my god, it's coloring pages. But then you go into it and it's like, it's this educational breakdown of everything. I'm like, oh my god, it's so amazing.
Steph is an absolute gem and a treasure, and I absolutely adore them. When I was first like conceiving of maybe I'm going to give a talk at Gen Con, I pitched a cold email to Steph. Like, we had never met, never talked. They had no
Terrifying
idea
to send those emails, right?
Yeah, I was like, I'm going to throw a Hail Mary and I'm not going to get a response and it's going to be fine. This bitch gets back to me within like 48 hours and is like, that's a brilliant idea. I want to help. And I was like, okay, great.
That's awesome.
And now we're presenting together again at Gamehole Con. We applied to PAX U but got declined. But again, like, the PAX U acceptance rate is so low because everybody goes to PAX U, and I get it. I'm bummed, but whatever. That's life. Hey, sometimes things just suck.
Hey,
weird. It's a skill.
Valid to feel that way, and I'll sit here with you.
Exactly.
But guess what? We're having that conversation.
What? Yeah. Crazy. Practicing what we preach?
Yeah.
Wild. Could never have expected it. But no, so I have so much respect for them. And they, for any of your listeners who don't know who Steph is, Steph runs a website called TTRPG Kids, and you can find them on Blue Sky and Threads and Instagram, all the socials. And essentially their whole deal is they talk about different games for kids of all age ranges, all genres, anything you can think of that you want to like game with your kids or any questions you have. Steph has almost certainly written an article, a blog post, a review about it. I recently had the honor of running the game of No Thank You Evil that Steph reviewed for the website that just went live last week, actually.
Perfect.
And was very cool. And I was like, oh, look at me, like doing stuff and knowing people. So I got to run a game for their kid and some other folks at Gen Con, which was super, super lovely. Their kid was dressed as Link, which I was like immediately best friends.
Yep.
It was wonderful. Excellent. But also, and I don't feel like Steph talks about this enough, so I'm absolutely going to take the time to toot their horn.
Yeah.
Steph was involved at Origins this year in organizing what was essentially a conference within the convention about therapeutic and educational TTRPGs.
Yes. Oh.
And the Gamma is the Game Manufacturing Association.
Yep.
Who runs Origins and Gamma Expo. They loved it. And I think they're looking at doing something similar next year and maybe expanding.
Yes.
But so like Steph is deep in the weeds of like, how do we use these things to make our kids better, to make ourselves better, to make our communities better, to just have better fun. And they are a wellspring of wisdom and intelligence. And I honestly, I'm just thrilled to like be even remotely associated with them. And Steph, if you ever hear this, shut up. I'm a sap. Leave me alone. Let me love you. Let me love you.
Yeah.
But no, yeah. Oh God. Listen, again, just as I am an MCG simp, I am a Steph simp as well. So if you have young people, if you are into gaming with young people, TTRPG Kids is an incredible resource. They've reviewed hundreds of kids games. They're also they also publish their own games. So I know that they recently
great.
I know they recently published A Construct's Nature, which is like exploring the humanity of a robot, I believe.
Yeah, I backed it along with Almost Bedtime Theater, Dan Bronson-Lowe's Librarian's Apprentice. They did like a thing on Backer Kit where it was like if you back one and you back the other.
And Almost Bedtime Theater also. So those are the two people I like blind emailed. And they also got back to me and they were like, I'm so sorry. It sounds amazing. I believe you. But he got back to me also and was like, I'm so sorry. I'm not going to be at any conventions this year, but that sounds great. And I wish you all the success. So he was also extremely lovely to me.
Yep.
So and that's what I love. And that's what I want to like have more access to is like the TTRPG community. And I keep stumbling over that initialism and I don't know why. Words are so hard.
Yeah. Especially when they're just letters, right?
Yeah. Right. English is my only language. It'd be real cool if I could speak it. But like the TTRPG community is so lovely.
Yeah.
And we deserve to have that loveliness in our lives more than a handful of conventions every year. Every time I leave a convention, like Con Drop is real.
Oh, yeah.
And it's because like you spend 4 days surrounded by nerds who love the same things you love and are looking out for you. And then you just have to go back home and like do real life stuff. And it's like, this sucks. Laundry day.
You know what I mean?
That. Yeah.
Where's my I need support right now.
I need to go to my real job. What the fuck?
Fun fact, this is why I started a lunch game at my job.
Oh my God. Yeah. Okay. So when my kid was like one, I was in this was back when I was still on Facebook because fuck Meta.
Yeah.
I was in a like women and NB like D&D group. And someone posted like, hey, I'm a mom and the only time I have to play is like during lunch times. Would anybody want to do like an hour long, like lunchtime game once a week, blah, blah, blah. This had to have been 2022, like early 2022. We're still playing. In fact, I think Monday is our anniversary.
That's so good.
So that person who posted just had a baby. So they have 2 kids now.
Look at this.
And
the
like,
community grows.
Yes. But like it started out as 4 of us. All 4 of us are still there. 3 of the 4 of us are parents.
Yeah.
And we just like, some weeks we don't even play. We just get together and like
chat.
Hang out.
That's our lunch game at work. Like sometimes we'll sit there and like I hand out all the character sheets to everybody and we're just like, but then we just get on a conversation about life. And then we look up and we're like, oh, we got 10 minutes. let's just brainstorm where we'll pick up next time. Everybody like set your scene and see you in a couple days. You know?
So if it gives you any kind of concept for how this has been working, we started the Terror Dungeon module, the Gygax Terror Dungeon last September as a like spooky season. We're still there.
Yeah. I immediately, basically what happened was I was prepping for my library game for my friend who when I was running a long-term game for the library, and I was prepping it at lunch one day, and a couple of people walked over and they're like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Oh, I run Dungeons and Dragons for people, whatever." And they're like, "Can we do that at lunch? Or like, can you run a game for us?" And I was like, well, I have a young kid that I got to pick up. So like, no, I can't like stay after work, or we can't do whatever. But I was like, if you want to play at lunch, because we can, with our schedule and how our thing works, like we can stretch like 45 to an hour if we just use like all our breaks at once. So we tend to do that. And I was like, yeah, but we're not going to play D&D because we'll get nothing done. Like in an hour, we will get nothing done. So I brought like Unlimited Dungeons, which is like a fantasy PBTA hack. And I was like, we can get a lot done with this. And we've been playing for over 2 years. It started with 3 players. My table has ballooned to 10 players.
That's amazing.
We literally take over the lunchroom. And like, I swear there are like regulars now who show up just to listen and be like, the fuck are they up to today? You know what I mean? Like,
so you're your own actual play show at lunch. That's so funny.
Multiple of the players who like have never really, like one of them was like, I play Baldur's Gate 3, and I was like, hop in, you get it, you know what you're
great. Yeah, you're so good.
Yep. And then multiple players at the table have gotten character art like commissioned for their characters, and they bring it to the table and everyone's like, oh my god, should I do it? And everyone's like, yeah, and we're gonna get like a big commission piece. And I'm like, yeah, let's do it, this is amazing. Yeah, nerds.
That's the dream.
It's right? Pretty great. Yeah, we're already thinking about campaign 2 because we're closing up on our first campaign. So we're trying to figure out what we're going to do next. I don't know.
Bittersweet moment. I love that. That fills me with so much joy.
But it is, you know, and to go back to how you were saying, like, con drop. It's that's almost kind of the concept, though, right? Of the village. And, like, it's almost like, hey, bring the con home, right?
Yeah.
And, like, start to find that group where, you know, at home you can find this like-minded group of people, just because, like, that feeling you get when you're surrounded by people who are looking out for you and like the same nerd stuff as you, and you're bonding with and creating these connections with, you know, then you never have to stop that stuff, you know?
What a crazy utopian idea you've just pitched out of absolutely nowhere. Yeah.
Listen, we've got, and, okay, hold on. We came full circle. You said something earlier and I was like, oh my God, we came full circle, but regardless, I'm just going to, hard pivot. Just because I looked down.
Pivot.
Hard pivot.
I'm a millennial. Listen.
Before we go to closing questions.
Yeah.
I don't want to end this without talking a little bit about Crispin. A little bit about.
Okay.
Because we did a little bit earlier. But I just want to dive into it. Catholic school survivor. You know, you said you were a Sunday school teacher.
I was a Sunday school teacher. I was also an altar server.
Yeah.
And I was in the choir. So like I was deep. I was knee deep.
Crispin's, you know what I love about Crispin as a character is that like when you first start listening to All Our Faults, and no spoilers for people, because go start listening to All Our Faults. Like go start
Please do. We had so much fun recording it.
You can catch up pretty quick. You guys are what, like 40 something episodes, I think, right now? Like low 40s?
The one you just listened to is 40.
Yeah. So listen, you can get it done. They're not long episodes. They're like an hour at most. So you can do it. Mm-hmm. But when I first started listening to Crispin, I was like, oh, this poor little, I don't want to say brainwashed child, but like, you know what I mean? Like this poor little sheltered, repressed kid. And you meet that kid and you go, okay, I know where this arc is going. At least that's what I thought. I was like, I know where this arc is going. And then it's not really, it's not really where you'd expect it to go. And he's kind of an antagonist within this game. Like
what? I'm so surprised to hear you say that. My sweet perfect angel who's never done anything wrong in his life.
But like, it's great. It works. So, I mean, again, it's Monster Hearts, right? So like every character is kind of there to push every other character's buttons.
Correct.
But even just like where you've gone with Crispin's story, I love so much that you're just like, you went like, you know what? There was a couple bad rolls. I remember there's been a couple bad rolls that maybe made you go, all right, never mind. We're going to lean this way then. But
aggressively so. Like there were, I do remember, especially like up top where it was like, I had such a clear vision. And it's so funny that you were like, oh, I know where this arc is going to go, because I felt the same way. And then the dice were like, Fuck you. No.
Yeah. You know what? You think you know. Like, it was your hubris for thinking you knew.
Exactly. You had the audacity to think you knew what was happening.
Yeah.
And so I just leaned into it and I was like, all right, this is what we're doing. But no, he has been such a pleasure to play, especially in that kind of in between, which you are now past at episode 40, of like what I thought the character was going to be and then what he eventually becomes. And I was just like I lived for a long time in a kind of weird sort of liminal space. And it's about the time that the werewolf shows up.
Yeah. Okay.
Spoilers.
Extra.
That I feel like he really solidified. Also, spoiler, not really a spoiler, but right around that time, I think Solomon's first recording was like 3 days after my dad died.
Oh no.
And I was just like, I showed up and everyone was like, what are you doing here? And I was like, I got to think about literally anything else.
Sure.
So
yeah.
We're going to do this and it's going to be weird. And even listening back to the episode or two from that recording session, I'm just like, okay.
Yeah.
That informed some things, but it's fine. Listen, I'm going to
go, not that I'm going to go re-listen I'm not saying like, hey, I'm going to go re-listen now that I have this context, but like at the same time, I know people who've done the same thing where it's just like, I totally understand if you can't make the game this week and like, I don't expect you to at all. And they're like, you know what, actually I need it.
Oh no, I beg you. Yeah. Yeah. The thing that was so interesting about Crispin, and I don't know if I've like said this anywhere publicly, my original concept for him. So like, repressed.
Yeah. Culty. Yeah.
But the sort of, so I'm an acting teacher and a very popular sort of concept in acting is like having a secret, having a driving thing inside of you that drives your character that no one else knows. And so building on that concept, I decided that Crispin's secret, quote unquote, I was playing him as a white feminist. So someone who is so convinced that they know what's right.
Oof.
And that only they can fix it.
Yeah.
And I think that came through really clearly.
Yeah, he definitely has a righteous streak.
Yeah. And boy, does that not go well.
No. No, it does not.
I'm so desperate. Like, please, when you listen to the next episode, please email me.
Yeah, we'll do.
I'm so excited to hear what you think.
Okay, good.
About
because this one, because this one was pretty loaded on a lot of fronts. So,
what do you mean? It was a totally normal episode where everyone was happy and definitely no one died.
Yeah. What? Yeah, good point. No spoilers.
Nothing happened. It was fine. Yeah. It was just a day at Chester's Chasm. It's totally fine. I love him. I'm here for the drama, here for a good time, not a long time. But again, it was one of those things of like, we were able to play and like be really fast and loose with people's feelings because we talked about it and there was a lot of discussion. And there were episodes where like the recording stops and we all took a breath and it's like, can we just stay on recording for like 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Or like I would come out of the room I was recording in and my spouse would see me and be like, are you good? And I'd be like, yeah, I'm so good. Everything's so fine. I just felt all of the feelings for the last 3.5 hours. It's fine. But I love that, like that catharsis that like, sometimes it feels good to cry. Like it's that kind of thing of like, sometimes it feels good to build a character only to emotionally devastate them over and over and over again.
Not okay. Well, now this question that I was going to ask is maybe a little,
it's fine.
One of my first episodes on this was about tropes and like why we play the characters we play, like why we tend to play one or two like character types.
Subject,
right? Yeah. Like, do you put a lot of yourself in your characters? Like, is Crispin an exploration of your Sunday school teacher, altar girl?
God, like go for the heart. Why don't you? Jesus.
Sorry. Well, you said, I was it's so cathartic to like play this character that you just devastate over and over. And then I was like, well, now this next question is going to hurt. Sorry.
Yeah, no. Oh, listen, just stab me in the heart, daddy. Let's go. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
As someone who has done just a metric shit ton of therapy, it's absolutely an exploration of that, like growing up in a culture where you have the answers because they're the answers that the adults in your life taught you. And that wasn't, and I want to be very clear that is not just the church.
Mm-hmm.
Like Crispin very much was a representation of the church, but like for me, that came down not just from the church, but just like the community I grew up in. That was a very homogenous, low income white community. And just that sense of like, we believe these things because it's what our parents believed. And we do these things this way because it's the way our parents did it. And having to reckon that sense of like, I know right from wrong, and I'm deeply confident in myself for absolutely no reason, unearned confidence, but then being thrust out into the real world and having to like get smacked down a few times.
Test it. Nope.
Yeah. And find that, oh no, I'm actually just a dumbass.
Sorry to laugh, but like the phrasing of that was
it's funny, but it's also, listen, comedy is tragedy plus time, or whatever the quote is.
Hard lessons learned, whatever, but
yeah. Like just the sense of like being so confident that you know the truth, and then having to go out into the world. In my case, it was going to college and realizing that, oh, the world is so much bigger and so much more complicated than I have ever understood.
Yeah.
And having to make the choice of like, do I embrace the newness of this information and grow as a person, or do I lean back on like the certainty and security of the life that I hated but understood?
Yeah.
And that's a hard place to be. And Crispin was a really fun exploration of that.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Well, not only for you, and that exploration of college teaching you that the world was so much bigger and questioning what you thought you knew. Just going to bring this full circle to our topic here. It doesn't have to be going out into the bigger world. It might just be meeting the people around you that you build this village with. Because again, if it's been lost to the internet and it's easier to find your people, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be fostering the community that you are actively a part of or creating with the people that you see or interact with more frequently. And they might be the people who show you something you didn't know and you have to now reckon with in an interesting way. And those are all good conversations because you're going to learn something and get a new perspective. Hey, look, it's the name of the show. But anyway.
Weird. And it's allowed to be hard.
Yeah. Oh, it probably will be. This is going to be a loaded first closing question, I think, for this chat. It's my favorite question. I think that's like a every episode one, but it's, do you have any last bits of wisdom, advice, or homework for the listeners?
Oh, wow. Yeah, absolutely. I don't particularly consider myself someone who is particularly intelligent or wise. I'm not, and that's not me dogging myself. That's me just being like, I'm all right. But I have recently had the opportunity to really kind of step into a lot of very cool spaces because I stepped forward and was like, hey, there's a hole here. Someone needs to fill it. Like, can we have this conversation? And so I guess that the takeaway for that for me is just like, you don't have to be a master's degree holding author, an acclaimed anything. You can have positive contributions and important contributions and contributions that matter, as long as you are at least able to kind of like stay in your lane, right? Like, we're so often told like, don't sell yourself short. Don't underestimate yourself, which is absolutely true and valid. Like negative self-talk is a killer of joy.
Yeah.
But also like, be honest with yourself and be like, okay, I have these skills. I have this perspective. I want to share it. What is the constructive way to do this? How can I use this in a way that is both helpful and staying in my lane?
Mm-hmm. Don't burn yourself out. Or humans aren't corporations in a capitalist society that need to continually make more profit. You can just find your happy coasting, but stay coasting in a positive direction, maybe, or like,
absolutely upward trajectory, right? Like, just keep asking. Just keep asking for stuff. And like in those moments where you are pursuing a thing and the answer is no, your panel gets turned down, or you find, oh, hey, I was fully fucking wrong about a thing. That's just the human experience, baby. And like being able to take that in and be like, all right, cool. And then continue moving on. That's a fucking superpower anymore. Is just the ability to be like, I was wrong. This didn't work out the way I wanted. Whatever. And as someone who has historically not handled rejection well, has been like, oh, I'm the worst.
Yeah.
Like, it's a hard lesson to learn. And it's okay if it takes practice. You can do it. I believe in you.
Oh, the it's okay to be wrong, and don't like lash out when you're wrong. Like, and again, you're gonna go through these things, but like if you realize it and you learn it, use it for good.
Yeah. And like, especially like when you talk about lashing out, like it's easy to be frustrated and upset and have like a big emotional reaction. Practice not doing that. Practice being like, you know what? I need to go take 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Or we need to stop this conversation. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Like you're allowed to leave an interaction before you say something that's going to fuck up your life.
Mm.
That's allowed. You can do that. You have free will.
Yeah.
Like walk away. Just practice walking away. Just in the middle of a conversation. Just fuck off. Just leave.
I read, not to bombard you with quotes that I've read, but I've read a good amount of good ones lately. But great. There was one where it was just like, I don't know where this comes from, but it was like, a wise man speaks because he has something to say, but a fool speaks because he has to say something.
Yeah. No, and that's 100% it.
So it's like, if you're feeling that, like, I need to just burst out, maybe stop and think about what you're about to say.
Yeah.
Think about it. Be like, is that the right one?
Yeah. And it does take, like, my neurodivergent friendos, like those who are of the neuro, what the fuck persuasion, as I am. Yeah. As you are. Like, it's okay if it takes practice. You're allowed to practice.
Yeah.
That thing we do, we're in the shower, we rehearse conversations. Like, that's a helpful skill. Do that.
Called out.
Yeah. Listen, I'm right there with you, baby. Like, I'm so aggressively upfront about who I am as a person. Like I make fun of others because I will drag theater kids from here to the sun and back, but I am a theater kid, so I'm allowed.
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
Yeah. Practice in the shower in your head, these conversations if you have to. Like live to see another day.
Perfect. That's good. That is a good set of wisdom, advice, or homework. That's hits on all three, kind of.
I did. Yeah, I did. I was just noticing that.
Nailed
Look at me
go. Nailed it. So the second question we ask is, are there any games that you really want to play, or ideas that you like want to get to the table, maybe haven't been able to be like, this is something I've wanted to do for a long time? Or
the game that I have been is on my shelf and I keep looking at, and I'm just like, I'm going to play you soon, I swear, is Yaziba's Bed and Breakfast.
Yes.
It is such a beautiful book. We kickstarted it. It's been on my shelf for a couple of years. It's still in the cling wrap, but I've heard such great things about it. I want to play it so bad, but I'm also in a point in my life where if I try to do literally one more thing, I will simply combust.
Mm-hmm.
But I've heard incredible stuff about like the storylines, and the mechanics are really interesting. And like you play a character arc to its conclusion and then you pick up a new character, and it just sounds so like sweet and fun and interesting. And I want to play it so bad.
Yeah.
And I just, every time I'm downstairs in my game room, I look at it and I'm like, I swear someday I'm coming for you, baby.
Yeah. The art is so fun. It's like pitched as like Saturday morning cartoon game, but at the same time, and I guess maybe that is like the pace feel of it, because it is very episodic. Like you play this character's story, you complete the arc, and then you play another character coming to the B&B, you know? Yeah, I love what J Dragon does with their games. They're very like academic in their game approach. They are very inspired by Avery Alder, who wrote Monster Hearts, and so like there's like almost like a derivative. I don't want to say derivative, but like a family tree of these games that like continue to kind of like push on the boundary of like, Crunch is over here, we're going that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's really story and narrative focused. And Yaziba's is a really interesting game that I agree with. If you ever get a game going and you need an online rando.
Rando, babe, you're part of the family.
Listen, you know what? It actually seems like a really good game to do like a random recurring guest kind of thing, because like you get like, now you're playing this person, now you're playing this person. Anyway,
exactly.
All right. Okay.
Sorry, I do have to toss out another one. I picked up a game at Origins that it's a little pamphlet of a game. Like it's not even a hardcover. It's literally like a stapled little pamphlet. It's called Honk Father.
Okay.
You play a member of the Goose Mafia.
Stop. Love it.
Yeah.
Say no more.
It is by Goose Poop Games.
Jordan. I've interviewed Jordan on this show.
Isn't he a delight?
He's so nice.
I've seen him at every convention I've been at this year, and it's just
he works hard. He grinds.
That motherfucker.
He grinds
every weekend. He's like, I'm at this farmer's market. I'm at this convention, and I'm like, sir, I need you to sleep.
Yeah. I lived in Maine, right near where he lives now, like for 7 years. And I was like, where were you when I was there? You know, like, why weren't we nerd friends then?
I know.
But Jordan's so nice. The Honk Father,
that's so lovely.
That tracks really hard with a game.
Right? It was one of those things, like, we were Threads friends. Like, we kind of chit-chatted, and he was like, oh, I'm going to be at Origins at this booth. And I was like, all right, I'll swing by. And, like, I found the booth, and as I walked up, this Honk Father was just like, and I was like, I have to have this. I don't know anything about it, but just the name Honk Father and then the duck in a suit on the front. I was like, I have to own this. And it's so dumb in the best way.
Yes.
And I'm just like, I need to find the most unhinged people on the planet to play this game with.
My DMs After Dark friends streamed a game of Good Soup, and we all made soup and we brought it, and we were like eating soup over the course of like a 2.5 hour stream. So it was like cold soup.
Oh,
it was really fun. It was a good time.
Listen, commit to the bit, baby.
Yeah, that's right. I think we're still maybe the only group that ever streamed the fake game Fishblade. Do you remember?
I'm sorry, what?
Did you hear about
No, tell me everything. What is happening?
It was like a meme. I don't know. This was a couple of years ago now, so it might have been a tweet. Sorry, fuck X. But it was like a tweet or something, and it was like making fun of indie games, and it was like, oh yeah, like the next game is just going to be a game called like Fishblade, where it's just like, you know, and I don't even remember, like they made up like stats or whatever, and we were like, you know what, fuck it, somebody made like a PDF of the fake game that somebody fake made up for like making fun of indie games, and we went streaming it now.
Oh no, it's fully on Drive-Thru-RPG.
Oh, somebody made like a real game out of it?
It's there. Yeah. That's so funny. Oh my God. I love a fucking dumb meme.
Oh yeah. We'll do it for the memes for sure.
100%. Listen, we're here for a good time, not a long time. Like life is too short. Play the stupid fucking game.
100%.
And just like chill out with your friends.
I love
that's why we play games.
You know, we came to talk about the TTRPG community as a village today, and in in conversation,
we just know all the same people.
It was so funny how many people came up when it was like, oh,
yeah, you know them, I know them too.
That's so funny. Well, now people need to know about you, Kat. So tell people where they can find you on the internet, and tell them all the cool things you're doing.
Yeah, so I am Kat the Dungeon Mom. You can find me on Blue Sky, Threads, Instagram, all of those places. I am also on Discord as the_dungeon_mom. I have a Discord server if that's your vibe. There's not a ton happening in there right now. It's mostly where I green room people that are working on my AP show that is currently not running. But come hang, we're fun. Most of the time I just post about weird bits of life, teaching myself photography, things like that. But as I get, these things developed and these assets and resources for people, I hope to be posting them as well. I also tend to post like, hey, I'm going to be running these games at this convention. So if you want to play a game with me, that's a good way to find out. I don't really have anything to plug other than just be good to each other and be chill. And if you are a parent or need a parent, please reach out. I am here. And I want us all to get through the current hellscape we call reality together.
Well summed up. Well, thank you, Kat, so much for coming on. And let's bring all these people together that we brought up.
Let's do it.
You know what?
Slumber party at my house, y'all.
Excellent.
It'll be great.
See you there.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. This has been absolutely delightful. I've had the best time.
Yay. That's the goal. And as always, thank you so much for listening. Definitely go check out Kat the Dungeon Mom, and I will pitch for her like she pitched others in this episode. Go listen to All Our Faults. It is one of my favorite APs out there right now. They are on a hiatus between seasons 1 and 2, so it's the perfect time to go binge it. If you like Monster Hearts and messy teen drama and the supernatural, that show is so good. If you like what I'm doing, you know what to do. Find me on the internet. Email me at rainyplaysgamespod@gmail.com. Rate, review. If you feel crazy generous, I do have a coffee. But I am just super appreciative you are spending time listening to me at any point in your life. So until next time, remember, it takes a village. So go see if you can find any local nerds and all make each other's lives a little bit better. And if not, join the DMs After Dark Discord. Then you'll have some digital nerd friends.